Hi everyone, today we're going to be restoring an old black and white photo in Photoshop. Let's get to it. Hi everyone, thanks for stopping by TB's Everything Adobe, and today, as the title says, we're going to be restoring an old photo in Photoshop. Now there's a free software out there, it's called Photopea. I'm going to attach that down in the link so you can grab that software and follow along with us. You will need some type of old photo. Okay, let's get right into it. All right, welcome back everybody. Today we're going to do a photo restoration. Now this is going to be a simple black and white photo. This client sent this photo to me and it's of his parents, and we're going to do a restoration. So let's go ahead and open up Photoshop. Everybody should know by now how to open up Photoshop. So the first thing that we want to do is on this photo, remember we always want to duplicate the layer that we're working on. So Control J, and if you can see, that makes a copy over of the picture over on the right hand side. So the next thing we do, we want to zoom in because we want to take a look at the photo to see what kind of damage that it has, right? So let's go to our zoom tool and just simply click on the mouse, and you want to zoom in quite a bit here. That's a little bit too much. And you just want to take a look at the photo itself. I want to take a look at the clothes. Very handsome couple here, and you can see the damage around the curtain area. There's some discoloration here, around her dress at the bottom. You can see the color difference here. We're going to take care of all of that. Okay, we're going to straighten out these scratches and cracks on the photo, and when we get done, it's going to look nice. So now, if you remember from my previous tutorials, from my very first tutorial, I talked about certain tools that we're going to use. Now, in this case, we're going to be using the spot healing brush, the clone stamp, and the patch tool. Now, the first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we have a good photo, right? So let's go ahead and zoom back out. Control 0 will zoom the picture back to its original spot. Now you can go a little bit lower if you wish, and all you do is hit Alt and then click on your mouse, and that'll zoom it out. Now let's zoom it back in just a little bit. So now what I'd like to do is I'd like to frame this picture out. If you remember from our first tutorial and the tools that we talked about, okay, I want to use the perspective tool here, and what I want to do is I kind of want to create a frame because as you can see, the photo is really damaged on one side. So what we're going to do, we're going to make the photo usable. So we want to click and drag. Okay, so and now we have the graph here. So we wanted to actually bring down the photo, okay, to a point where we can use it. All right. So, and listen, you won't lose anything by doing this. Okay, all this is going to do is help the photo. So we want to take that, we want to bring that in, and then we want to get rid of this, and then we want to get rid of this. Okay, and I'm going to bring this up just a tad. I don't want to get too much of her dress. I want to kind of leave that, authentic like it is. Remember, whenever you make changes like this, you must hit the accept check. Okay, that accept your change. So now when I hit that, boom. Now as you can see, it gave us a better frame of the picture. Okay, but we're going to fix a lot of things. So let's go ahead and zoom back in. Grab a zoom tool, zoom in. And the problem is that where do you start on the photo, right? There's a couple things that you can do when you're working with photos and doing restoration. The first thing you want to do is you do not want to do any kind of color any kind of color correction until you take care of the cracks and crevices on the photo. All right, so what we're going to do here is let's zoom in a little bit more. Let's get kind of close here. Now you can see some cracks and crevices here. So let's go ahead and repair that. I think what I'm going to try first is the spot healing tool. So let's grab that spot healing brush, and then let's just go straight down. Boom, that kind of takes care of that. And there's some more spots here So I want you to find a photo, and there's plenty of them that you can find. You might have one in your house or something like that. And what you want to do is kind of mimic what I'm doing. So right now I'm going to go ahead and work with the spot healing brush. I'm going to spot heal as much as I can. I'm going to fast forward this video, okay, as I spot heal. And then when I'm done with the spot healing, what I'll do is I'll come back and then I'll talk to you about the other tools. So stand by. Okay, I'm back with you guys. So I think I've done as much as I could with the spot healing brush. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with the clone stamp tool, because one thing I should mention to you guys is that whenever you're doing a photo, it's always best to scan the photo. Now, this photo was emailed to me. I could do a way better job if I had a scanned photo. When I did the first restoration on this photo, I scanned it, so it was done right straight from a copier. This one was emailed, no, excuse me, this one was text to me. So the job might not be as clear. However, remember always to scan it. So let's go over and grab our clone stamp tool. Now you see this area right here. So what I want to do is I want to clone stamp this area out. So I'm going to have to paint with the clone stamp tool. So I'm going to have to select. Whenever you're working with the clone stamp tool, remember, whenever you want to do an area, okay, you have to hit Alt. That's going to sample the area that you want to paint. Okay, and then you start painting. See that, how that laid an extra texture in there? So that's exactly what we're going to do, okay? We're going to go ahead and paint this in. You know, it's kind of like, you know, coloring. So you have to use your imagination. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and paint this in. So I don't want to take long on the video, so I'm going to go ahead and speed this video up. Okay, I just wanted to stop the video for 1 second. Whenever you're dealing with Photoshop and you're doing these photo restorations, you want to make sure that you take your time, and it does require a lot of patience. It's not something that you can just sit and just automatically wish it to do. You have to be patient, and you have to have the will to do it. Not that it's hard, it's just that you have to have patience. I'm going to continue on with the clone stamp tool. Then we're going to talk about the patch tool. Okay, back with you. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over and grab the clone stamp tool. Now I want you to keep in mind, I'm going to be switching back and forth, guys, from tool to tool, because these three tools are the key to restoring photos in Photoshop. The three tools that you're going to be using in photo restoration is patch tool, spot healing brush, and clone stamp. These are the key to restoring your photos, okay? And then I'm going to go and grab the patch tool now. Let's take a look at the patch tool. So there's some pretty big areas that are damaged here. But what the patch tool does, the patch tool allows you to copy from one portion of the photo to another, almost kind of like the clone stamp, but it does it in a bigger portion. All right, so now that we have our patch tool selected, so what we want to do is, the way that you want to use the patch tool is that you want to draw out the bad portion of the photo and drag it to a good portion of the photo. So it kind of works like the pencil tool. So you have to draw a complete selection of what you want, and then you drag that to the good portion of the photo. Okay, so in this instance, I'm going to take a part of the photo here, bad part, right? I'm going to drag that way over there, and then what that's going to do is that's going to blotch that bad spot out. Now what we can do with the spot healing brush is come back later, and then we can heal that out, okay, to make it much better. So let's go ahead and patch it out again, drag it over to a good section. Okay, now this photo is very old. You can see that looks like there's some trees or something that's not really in focus in the background, so you have to be careful here so you don't draw too much out of it. So what I would do here is I would probably draw this here, a small patch, and then bring that here. Boom. Okay, let's draw this out right here, because it looks like there might have been some trees there, but it's just really damaged. And then what you can do is you can draw over here. If you want to try to recreate the trees somehow, you can draw over here and then drag that over. Whoops, that's going to patch that out. All right, okay, so let's go ahead and we'll continue to do the patch tool as much as we can on this section, and then I'm going to fast forward and I'll be with you. Now you will see me go from the patch tool to the spot healing brush, okay, into the clone stamp tool. So you will see me as it's fast forwarding. Just keep your eye on the video and you'll see, and this will help you in your tutorial. Okay, so I just wanted to slow down the video a little bit. I know I've been going pretty fast for you guys. So I just want to back out on the video and see what our results are so far. Okay, so we're going to, remember, Control 0, zooms your picture back out. And look at that. Remember all the damage that we had right here, folks? It is gone. How about that? All right, so we still have a lot more to do. We have the bottom of her dress. Also, too, you can't see it here, but his hands and his suit has some imperfections, as well as her wedding dress. So we need to correct that. Okay, so let's zoom back out. So we're going to zoom back out, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to get back to the clone stamp tool. Okay, now in this case here with the clone stamp tool, remember, to use the clone stamp tool, you have to sample the area by hitting Alt. Okay, as you notice, your icon changes when you do that. Now I'm holding Alt as I do this, and then you left click your mouse and you sample the part of the photo that you want to paint in. Okay, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and make my brush a little bit bigger. Now, in order to make your brush bigger, you want to use the brackets on your keyboard. So the left and right brackets, okay, right bracket will increase your brush. The left bracket will lower your brush. So I'm going to increase mine a little bit. I'm going to hit Alt because I want to cover a lot of ground here. A lot of times when you have clients, they can get demanding, and they want to have a time limit on when things are going to be done, and you want to kind of try to keep your clients happy. So let's lower the brush on this, and then we're going to zoom out more, because you want to paint this line in here. Okay, you just don't want to stamp over it. That is the key to making you have a successful restoration. So let's go ahead and click back on a clone stamp. All right, so that brush to me looks big enough, and let's go ahead and fix this. I'm going to fast forward the film. You guys get the gist of this, so I'll be back with you in a minute. And remember, I may cross over to another tool. Just pay attention to the video, and if you have to rewind it, rewind it. Okay, so that's looking really good, as you can see, but you may not see it from where we're at right now, but there are some more imperfections. There are some imperfections around her wedding dress that we're going to try to correct, and the photo is discolored, as you can see, and one of the hardest thing is trying to highlight the other areas that need to be patched. So we're going to go ahead and zoom back in. And we're just going to take a look at her wedding dress. I see some spots here that could probably be healed. And we're just going to zoom in a little bit more. Being that the photo is not a scan photo, it is out of focus a little bit. So there's nothing I can really do about that. But on the scan version that I did, this turned out really excellent. And I printed this out in an 8x10 for the customer, and they were extremely pleased. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and do some spot healing and clone stamping on her dress. So I'm just going to grab the clone stamp tool real quick. In this restoration, my favorite tool seems to be the clone stamp tool. It seems like it's doing a great job with all the spots and stuff. Typically when you use the spot healing brush, it's only good for a certain amount of areas, and then it starts to smear the photo, and then you don't want that. Okay, so we're just going to go clone stamp this, clone stamp it out. Okay, we'll go ahead and clone stamp this. Okay, so I'm just going to go around her dress. I'm going to concentrate on her dress and clean that up, and I'll be back with you. All right, so I'm back with you guys now. So I think I've cleaned up her dress as much as I could. Let's just zoom out and check it out. Okay, lovely, lovely, very nice. All right, so there is one side of her dress that's going to be really tough, and that's on the bottom left, as you can see here. So that's going to be tough to get out. So I'm going to have to work on that. But before I do, let's go over to her husband, and let's take a look here. Let's zoom in and see what's going on. Okay, I see some damage right on his hand. Okay, so right there on his hand, there's some damage. And obviously, there's some spots on his suit, and there's some more damage right by her dress. As you can see, the lace here, right? You can see that is right across this tear. So I'm going to have to fix that, and probably my clone stamp tool is going to be the best thing to use for this. So once again, we're going to be speeding up. I'm going to show you briefly a little bit on how to try to fix this, but by now you should be able to have a gist on what I'm doing. Okay, so basically, let's go over to our clone stamp tool. Going to grab that, and then let's begin. So remember, using the clone stamp tool to sample the area that you want to paint, you have to sample it, hit Alt, then left click your mouse, and then paint. Now I'm going to have to make this brush a little bit smaller. I don't want to look too out of proportion. And then we're going to paint. Alt, paint. Now we're going to grab in here and going to bring our brush back up. Alt, select. You just want to clean these areas up as much as you can. Let me see here. Okay, that's way better. All right, so I'm going to fast forward while I'm working on this. I don't want to keep you guys standing here and listening to me jabber on. So I'm going to continue to fix the hand here and other portions of the lace by the dress. All right, so let's take a look at what we have so far. I mean, we still got a little bit more to go, but you can see here how well this photo is looking from what we originally had, right? So, very, very much improved. So I'm just going to continue on. I want to clean up some things over here. I notice there's a little light differential right here, and that's probably from the lighting from the old days. So I can try to clean that up a little bit. I don't want it to look too robotic. One thing you got to remember when you're doing these photo restorations, a lot of people you can see online, they can colorize these photos and everything like that. But when they do that, you have to be really, really good. If you're not really, really good at doing that, then the photo is going to look kind of, blase, like you threw some color in there. If you're really good at that and you're a professional photographer, you know how to do that, then all well and good. But if you're not, leave the photo black and white like it was. Leave it authentic like it is, because it was shot that way. To me, and that's just my belief, if you want to add color, you can do that. All right. So I'm going to continue to clean up the photo a little bit more. And remember, we're going to be using my tools, and we're going to fast forward. Okay, as you can see, we're almost done with this restoration. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to touch it up a little bit more on the left side, and then what we're going to do is try to do a little bit of color correction as far as the black and white of authenticity of the photo. Okay, so going to fast forward a little bit. All right, so now we're going to try to do some color correction. The only thing about color correction when you're working with black and white photos is that it can get very, very tedious. I want to try to bring back the really black and white of the photo. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to adjustment layers, and we're going to select curves. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to adjust the colors. Now we talked about that. We'll go ahead and adjust the reds. Now when you're adjusting these things, you only want to adjust the scales to where the peak of the graph starts. Okay, so in this case I probably won't move this side of it, the black side, but I'll probably move the white side just a little bit on the red. Okay, and as you can see, it makes the photo a little bit redder. Then we'll go to the green. I'll drag the white over. And then the blue. And as you can see, that looks way better, right? So I'm really liking what this is doing right now. Like I said, this photo was text to me. It's there, folks. There is a difference from when you scan a photo and you restore it, and then you get a text from somebody. So what happens is what we call pixelation, right? So now that photo was scanned to a phone or taken from a camera off a phone and sent to me. So that's why you have a little bit of the distortion there. But all in all, still, look at the major improvement that we've done from the time that we've had the photo. I'm just going to try to adjust some more color. I'm going to go up to the hue and saturation and see what I can do there. So go back down to adjustment layer. Select hue and saturation. And now you have your hue, you have your saturation, and you have your lightness. Okay, so you can play around with these controls. If it doesn't look good to you, you can always go up to edit, either step back or undo, or control Z. Now I turned the hue all the way down on that, but I'm not quite happy with that because it does make it look kind of blue. I'm going for like a straight black and white. Okay, so the saturation really made this turn out really, really nice. Wow, look at that. The lightness is really what made this photo come through. As far as the restoration, I think we're going to stop there with the restoration. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to give this photo an outside edge, right? Or a frame. And then it's really going to make it pop a little bit. But this is a basic restoration, folks, with a black and white photo. Now there is a way difference from a color photo, and we will do that tutorial. So let's go ahead and we're going to do a frame. Okay, so we're going to go up to image, and we're going to do canvas. Now, you have to be careful here, because if you do this in inches and you put in, let's say 0.5, which is a 1/2 inch, that's going to be pretty thick, right? So if you do 0.5, when you do this, you want to make sure that you select the relativity, make sure that's checked, and you want to select center, okay? And then you go okay, and there, that gives you a nice edge to your picture, okay? You can even actually make this a little bit more thicker if you want. You can leave it at that, or you can make it thicker. You can get rid of this just by hitting this arrow, and that'll get rid of that adjustment layer. Let's go back up the image. Canvas size, and we'll do 0.5 one more time. I think I hit 0.2 instead of 0.5. Yeah, see, it doesn't want to let me do that again. There we are, lovely. 0.5. Let's go center. And let's go okay. See if I have a before and after for you. There we are, lovely. So there's your before and after. Okay, total restoration on this black and white photo. As you can see here, I took care of the wedding gown and the tears in the photo, the scratches in the photo. Even restored the background, as you can see. But like I said, this takes a lot of patience. And remember, again, I can't reiterate enough, is that if you would like to reach out to me, I'll leave my email in the description and my phone number if you need a restoration. Please give me a call or email me, and if you do, I will require that you send in the regular photo. All right, guys, that is it for this tutorial. I thank everyone for stopping by. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and remember to view the video. If you just click on the video and click away, YouTube doesn't look at that as a view. They have an algorithm that they run to really know if people are watching the videos. So I would appreciate it very much if you would watch the video. And till we meet again, I'll see you in the next tutorial. Thanks, guys.